Hi, my name is Emujin. I'm in 10th grade and currently doing IGCSE art. And I am showing you all of my progress on component 1, and the topic that I chose is tranquility in water. Without further ado, I'll be showing brief explanations and usually summarizing on what I've been doing and what was going through my thought process. I have wrote all of my art on the ground so I can explain this one by one and show the progress of my development, starting from here. This was my first drawing I did in the IGC art component 1. It was my record since the art style here was definitely detailed. I loved the shading, complementary colors, and the whole art style here was my whole thing. I was in love with drawing like this, the anime art style like this whole cartooniness, I loved it. So I drew this pop art on week 2, this small little piece too on the side, and this third art on the third week, of course. This character design and the coloring of this was also why I thought it would be good to turn this into a whole topic. I made this realism art, the cartoony, by following this artist. There are 2 pieces that I have, seen and tried to replicate. But for now, we'll see how this went out. And as you can see, they lined out their features. They drew cartoony using the same features they found out from here and shaded it just like this one. These 2 pieces. These were the ultimate guides I used to do this. Yes, the photos I took here and drew here were all in my camera roll, but I did not print them out, so it's just like this. I already printed all my criticism and little needs of compliment on my own work and what I need to work on. And I've also drawn one more photo, which is a record I took from Toonimation that was on Pinterest. I am in love with the way they colored things and drew their work. It's very much giving their own art style. And then I suddenly switched over to this water theme. I switched over because originally I was going to make a big theme like cartoony and water. But since I found it to be too difficult, I was left with an ultimatum, and which I eventually chose water. I was already good at drawing faces, but not realistic. So this is my poorly tried replication of this art. This is originally an oil painting that I found from Google, but I know the original artist and I set a list of them. This looks quite cartoony compared to the photo, but moving on, we have another pencil drawn artist. This photographer is an artist to me since how beautiful they captured this moment. It looks like a laundry ad, and the monotone colors are so light, giving such a cool aesthetic and vibe that I could not put this as a pencil drawing. You can see here I was studying water, but I eventually realized we're not going to, well, especially me, I'm not going to be drawing water that's moving around all the time. I'm going to be drawing water that's just there while the model is the main focus. But this is still a good drawing, so I kept it. And this was the biggest breakthrough. I tried these in different coloring ways, especially this one. It was the most similar to the photo here. It was watercolored by me with pencil too. I really like this one considering I could draw all the details and just put watercolor on them. It was so beautiful and matching with this little photo here. But the acrylic one looks so much better. It barely looks alike, the coloring, with this photo. But if you look at it by itself like this, you can tell what this person is doing, what they're doing. If they're laying down with all these flowers, the shading here, the little color theories, gorgeous. But since I was going for, well, watercolor in the first place, I chose a different artist. I chose this artist because I could not choose anyone else. The artists that I was going for before were doing things digitally. And this artist was not cartoony, they did real life stuff. And they colored. The one thing that dragged me to do this artist was the coloring. The steps were easy, yet hard to follow. And the way they colored was so mesmerizing. It looks like water droplets, because it was watercolor, but quite literally made with water droplets. It is so beautiful. I have tried to replicate one on my own, but it turned out to be a little bit of a failure. These here are photos I took with my sister that took hours. I spent hours with my sister trying to make the perfect outcome out of all 70 of the photos. And I have drawn some of the photos, not this one, but I have drawn this one here with the artist's style. Oh, and by the way, the artist's name here is Rajkumar Stabathi. Yeah, as you can see, I tried my best. This one was on A3 paper, and the paper that I chose for this was not very good with watercolor, so it went all crinkled up, and the way I tried to color and blend things in kind of erased the paper a bit. But then again, I used the technique called some other tools, and the other tool is color pencils. I used color pencils on the hair, the face, the arms, the clothes, everywhere. And if you look from a good enough distance, it looks good, except for the face and this hand over here. They do not look like my sister at all. But you can see how good this one is. You can see Rajkumar's art style here on this hand, the dress, and the clothes. And this small little piece here was super hard to replicate. I used oil paint and this photo. It was one of the best looking ones, but it was so hard to do the bubbles. The face was turning out yellow. The hair was just, ugh. The only good thing here was the boats here and the clothes. I like the clothes because you can tell it was wet and what was there and what wasn't. This also helped me shade better, especially on the clothing, because compared to the other two, I mostly learned this clothing shading from using the oil paint. I am safe to say I won't be trying to use oil paint again, since it was super difficult to have a breakthrough with this. The only breakthrough I had was with this, which was literally just layering. I found out from this experience that oil paint is way too different from acrylic. I thought I'd luck out again like I did with acrylic, but no, unfortunately I did not. And I tried to use pencil to highlight things, but it did not make it look any better. This is my final outcome. I still have some things to work on it, but you can see I've already used this photo before, but I'm using this again since it was just that good. And from all my skills that I've learned, over here, boom, down here, you can tell I've been learning. And this time it looks a lot more cleaner. It's because I actually used the right paper for it. This is watercolor paper, and you can tell that the clothes, the shading on the clothes, the wrinkles, the coloring, the contrasting here and here, especially on the arms. You can tell that I've mastered it. Quite literally. The face actually looks like my sister's face, and I think I learned how to draw my sister's face better because I was drawing myself on the reverting human to cartoony. And over here, the best one I learned so far was how skin and clothes, especially something silky and thin as a white shirt, would feel like and look like. I'm so proud of how this turned out. It actually looks like it's wet, and you can tell from these hands over here and here look realistic. I'm surprised that I managed to pull this off, considering how I was only going for a cartoony art style back in September. I have learned how to draw real life people. I have learned to increase my speed on coloring. I have learned to draw wrinkles, the way clothes look, color theory, contrasting, and blue and skin on skin tones, which make it look so good. The way I have learned how cartoony is portrayed and reverted back was also a learning experience. And drawing myself cartoony, and since my sister and I are siblings, it was much easier for me to draw my sister's face. Since in the cartoony, I focused on my main, most known features. And my sister and I didn't think we were that close alike looking, but we were. I had the same nose, same face structure, same lips, same eyes as her. It was quite surprising because I felt we were so different, but in fact, our features are really similar, and I've learned how to color water. Overall, I realized that I shouldn't be repeating the same mistake of using the wrong paper, using the wrong brush, coloring the wrong way, and most importantly, trying not to be too reckless. Because when I'm drawing, I'm always doing something incredibly reckless. So I've learned so far how to not be more reckless and plan out things. I've especially learned how to plan out, because at the start of this, I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought we were drawing whatever. But now that I actually know, it makes things so much easier. I can actually go to sleep in peace, knowing I know what to do.